guys, it's Jen from Just Jen Cosplay, and today I'm going to show you my Skyrim Glass Armour build. So first of all, let's start with what I'm trying to aim for. So I looked at a couple of different Skyrim armour builds, versions, and the one that really stood out to me was the glass armour, but specifically it is a PC mod. So I'll show you the picture now. Now I thought the build would be fairly simple, not easy by any means. I didn't want it to be super easy, but I did want it to be easily achievable with foam, because I wanted to make it a lot cheaper than my Lady Sylvanas build, which I think by the time I finished it I'm going to go with around the £300 mark. So I was looking for, you know, about a tenth of that, hopefully. The nice thing about the Skyrim stuff is that, of course, I'm not necessarily having to play a particular person. This is a set of armour, so I don't have to worry too much about wearing contacts or a wig or anything like that. I can literally just be me in a set of armour, if I want to be, or I can then choose to be whatever race that I want to be from it. So, you know, I could always still go with some little elf ears. So yeah, I will show you what I've been doing. First of all, I will start with the breastplate. Cling film. Masking tape. Ooh. So I've taped myself all up, and I'll just draw the pattern on, and then we'll be ready to start tracing it onto foam. So now I've just drawn out one half this way, and then one half this way, and then I'll just cut it out, and that's the very base of the breastplate. Slicey, slicey. And there we go, so I've cut it out, and that's the very first layer. And then there's going to be a couple of other layers that will go sit underneath it, but I'm going to build them and it will layer up, so they'll sit underneath slightly. So there we go, it's very quick and very easy. One of the things that I did notice with this is that where it had been cut up in the corner, it had been a little bit damaged, so I cut a little bit extra than I needed, with the hope that I could cut that off, and having just done a quick test of putting it around me, that should be fine. I should easily be able to cut that off, and potentially a little bit more as well, but just left it on in case, if need be, I'd have had to do something with it, but luckily I'm going to be able to cut it off. There we go. Just to confirm, this is 5mm EVA Foam from Polyprops Limited. So following this pattern that I made, I've cut out the 4 sections. So only thing left to cut out on the breastplate for the base is the boobies, which I'll then have to shape around my booby cup. So after cutting all of the pieces out, I've just heated each of them and then just put them against me. And shape them. Next, once they've cooled, I'm going to use my contact cement and stick them together. Then I'm just going around with the Dremel and just making these a little bit smoother, where you can see this one I haven't done yet, just a little bit of slight edges from where I cut and changed angle, so just smoothing that off a little bit, and stuff like just here where it's just quite not perfect. So there we go. So just cut out the booby cup, just shaping it over here. Because of the fact that you've got obviously some excess when you push it over, I'm just having to cut out a little bit at a time, because I don't want to cut out too much. So I am literally just cutting out a sort of a slither like that at a time, to make sure I don't overdo it. Make sure that it'll get a nice seam, sort of like that when it's done. So this is on the inside. I've just put some glue on both sides of the shaped booby, and as you can see, there's a couple of little bits here that I'm just going to need to cut off. I'll just cut a little tiny bit off of here, just to make sure that there's a smoother seam. and then turn it back in the other way, and just continue to make sure it's shaped, and then I'll cut it off about here-ish is where it needs to go. There we go. And there we have the second boob in. So now it'll just be a case of shaping them and making sure that they are all perfectly cut in the right place. Yeah, there we go. So the actual breastplate itself is really easy to do. As you've seen from the little videos, that's now what it looks like. So that is basically ready to be primed, other than the boobies. So we'll sit something like that, and that's just going to Velcro around the back onto the back, obviously. Now, as you saw, I had been having quite a bit of trouble with the boobie. So this was the first one that I made, and I literally just cut out exactly the shape from my template. It wasn't bending as much as I wanted it to. So the biggest issue that I have is it will sit nicely around here, but for example, you can now see that you can just see completely in here. So I started by trying a few cuts and cutting just little bits out and then gluing it together. To be honest with you, it still didn't work. So let me see. I pulled this one apart so that I could trace it all, but there you go, there's one that's still intact. But again, as you can see, it sits quite nicely around here, and it's actually, this bit was perfectly aligned to the rest of the breastplate and sat really well there. But yeah, you can just see straight there. I make a joke that, you know, people might give me more points for it the more boob they can see, but I personally don't feel comfortable showing that much boob. Yeah, bit of an issue. So I tried again. These ones didn't work, so I literally ripped them off. Woo! And I did another one. So this time, instead of using the 5mm, which is what these were made out of, I tried using a 10mm foam. So I'd watched some Evil Ted tutorials, and he did almost a very similar thing. He was trying to make a breastplate, tried it with his 5mm foam, wasn't working, and he tried it with a thicker one. So I thought I'd give that a go. As you can see, it's actually got a lot better shape than this one. Don't know how well you can see, and it only had the one line in it. So that was something again that I learned from the Evil Ted one, was this darting. So effectively, when you draw your template out, you cut a line in your template so that the template sits flat on paper. Because that's one of the things I've been pretty bad at, is just drawing around it and hoping for the best. So yeah, making that sit flat first. Yeah, the foam definitely seemed to shape a bit better, but I've still got the same issue. It's still not coming in enough. Yeah, so I thought, well, I can start cutting some more bits, or I can do one final try and attempt what I saw Kamui do with her Razor Girl build. So I have literally only just done it, so I'm hoping that it will work, which is literally a very, in terms of drawing out the template, it's literally just taping up boob, drawing around where I want it to go. Got to figure out which way up it is. Either way. And then having cut in the middle to see if that will work. So I'll let you know how that goes on next time. Next I'll just quickly show you the back. Very easy to do, very simple, and follows almost exactly the same, well, exactly the same as the front. So here you go. So today I'm going to make the back of my Skyrim armour. Luna is helping me, as you can see. So I taped up my back. So this is what it's going to look like. These are going to go over the front because they're going to connect up to the breastplate on the other side. And again, this is going around my side bit, which will then Velcro round. So I've drawn on where the front bits come to. And I've drawn on, well, I haven't. someone's helped me, of course, which you will always need for the back, because unfortunately you cannot reach your entire back unless you are very, very flexible. So yeah, just going to cut down here, and then I'm going to start drawing on the pattern of how I want it to look, and then I'll transfer that over onto some EVA foam. Licky, licky, licky. I just wanted to add in, I've used a ruler just to make sure that my lines are straight, otherwise that's going to wind me up. But yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'll be cutting this in half so that it will be symmetrical. So I'll only literally make a pattern of one half and then flip it over to make the other half. So now you can see the half a template. And sorry, Luna bumping into me. And this is why you don't get pets if you want to craft, because you get interrupted by them, don't we, Luna? What do you want? Oh, was that a sigh? Hey? So I now have 3 pieces cut out, which, as I say, will double over. So again, will be 3 pieces of foam and a bored dog. So I'm going to have to go and take her out for a walk, but it is raining. Boo! Hello. So as you can see, I'm just drawing out my pattern that you can see in this one here. I've got one back to back, so there you go. So it's perfectly symmetrical. I don't end up with the mistake I made with my Lady Sylvanas, where one of my boob cups is bigger than the other because I didn't make them the same. Here we are. So there's the 3 pieces now cut out. So I will give them a bit of a heat. Oh, sorry, blurry. Give them a bit of a heat and bend them a little bit so that they're a bit more rounder, and bend these round. And bend these over the top of my shoulders as well, and then I'll stick them all together. So I'll just use my Dremel to tidy them up, the sides up a little bit. So now I'm going to just heat them. First of all, it heat seals them, but it also means that I can then bend them a bit. Just quickly wanted to show that I've done a very similar bit on the back to where I've done the front bit, where I've just cut this and stuck it on. It was much easier to do this because I've actually still got the pattern piece from cutting it out, so I was able to trace on the bottom of the pattern and cut it all out in one piece. So it's a lot smoother looking than this, so I've had to cut it in bits, and yeah. But yeah, so that means that apart from the booby cups, they are now ready to go and spray. So here's the back. These effectively will just literally come over like this. I'm going to use some back webbing, and it will be attached to the breastplate through that back webbing. So it'll come over like a sort of like a top, a t-shirt, I guess. So this will be attached here. Then all I'll have to do is, using Velcro on here, will be just to stick it round, and that will be the entire breastplate piece together. So the next thing I have to do with these, which they are ready for now, is the spray priming. So I've said before that I bought some from Polyprops. Here it is. I've actually just found out, like literally this week, might have been last week, either way, they've just released a white and a black version, which would have been helpful to know before, because this is grey, but I'm sure it won't be an issue. So yeah, I will let you know how I get on with that next week. And I've started work on the shoulders, but I will, again, I'll show you all next week. Hopefully I'll have some finished shoulders for you then. Yeah, it's been a good week. I've really enjoyed working on it. I've not been as productive as I'd like to be. As always, that's basically my life. I'm just never as productive as I want to be. But I guess the nice thing for me is that there is no con crush. I literally have nothing planned until next May, which is MCM. And then, of course, I think July is London Film and Comic Con, which I'll probably look to go to again. Yeah. So if you do have any questions about my build this time, or if you do have any good tutorials to link me to, because almost every single one that I've looked at for booby cups has either been Warbler, which is what I'll have to resort to if I can't get this last one to work, or they have been sort of like for a whole piece across here. So they're just, yeah, it doesn't matter about the fact that you can see here. So yeah, hopefully I will overcome my booby problem and I can tell you all how I did it next week. Boobs! Hope you all have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye!